Back to the freezing cold, it seems. I'm seeing a lot of folks reference the days of Noah. I'm seeing a lot of misunderstandings, misinterpretations, and people that want to take things out of context because they think now is a terrible time. Well, now is not a terrible time. Now is good times made by hard men that are starting to make weak men, and we're looking at the future of hard times. But right now we're sitting still in a mass abundance. There's literally, I mean, for all the things that we can see crashing, going up in price and whatnot, we still have more availability of food, resources. I mean, indoor plumbing, electricity. I mean, we have more going for us than ever in the history of the world. So to look around and see the cost of a few extremely they're niceties and commodities. We're seeing those go up in price. Yes, it does make life more difficult because we've gotten used to them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that things are as bad as in the days of Noah. No, let's talk about that. So Noah was given 120 years to build an ark because the Lord was going to kill off all the evil on the earth. The Genesis 6 Niphilim experiment, where the sons of God, angels, went into the daughters of man. Some people like to say they got married, maybe. The thing of it is, no matter how you slice it, an angel, I would imagine specifically an unholy angel, does not have all of the rights and capabilities of a holy angel, where they can show up in a corporeal form, a human type form, and have, a body to them temporarily. I don't think angels that are unholy, that are not on God's team, have that ability. There's no sign of that. There's only a sign that there's only proof that they wanted to take bodies, inhabit bodies, and willfully get the okay of humans to be able to take over their bodies so that they could feel and experience what they go through. So the picture is 120 years, Earth's about to be flooded, Earth is covered in supermen that are all evil, that are trying to kill each other and basically live without God, basically mass rebellion throughout the earth. And this was a time when the weather was awesome. You didn't have any signs of seasonal fluctuations. You didn't even have signs of a lot of microbial action on the earth. Bacteria and fungus were probably at a minimum. There's no mention of alcohol, by the way, until after Noah has a field of grapes. He makes some wine, gets drunk, and then Ham and the whole nakedness covered up thing. The description by multiple folks, Peter, the Lord, a few others, about the days of Noah. The days of Noah, the very final days of Noah, specifically, people had been watching him for 120 years. Basically, mark the end of their life, mark the end of their existence, mark the end of their world as they knew it. But they refused to acknowledge it. So that's one thing. A whole bunch of evil going on where people are so drawn up into it that they absolutely cannot see what's going on. Like, for example, in Matthew 24, that long diatribe where it talks about the end times. Towards the very end, it says, 2 men will be working in a field, one will be taken. 2 women, grinding grain, one will be taken. Those are pictures of likely slavery, first off. And second off, that description doesn't happen until near the very end when the Lord returns. And that is, I'm sorry guys, that is a chronological diatribe from 24 all the way through 25 and on. So you can't put the rapture timing on that, because he times the taking literally right before the return of the Son of Man, when everybody is marrying and giving in marriage and going about their business, spending money, etc., not thinking anything's going on. I believe that the entire unbelieving world will be up to all of these things all the way up until the very last minute. Antichrist and his armies will be headed to Jerusalem to do battle with the Lord. And the majority of the unbelieving world will still be like, nothing's going to happen. It's going to keep going on the way it is. That's the days of Noah. That is what they're talking about. They're saying that even during all the tribulation, you're going to have the mark of the beast. All the people that have the mark are going to be mentally checked out. They are going to be especially unaware. There's every sign that they're going to lose a good portion, if not the bulk of their free will and their ability to choose. Right? It's the reason why they're utterly rejected. They reject themselves because of the timing of the test. But they're also going to get a very strong notion via the conscience that what they're doing is wrong. Because even if you don't have the Lord, you still have the knowing of good and evil, the conscience. So they are knowingly going to step off the edge into basically the limbo on the way to hell, which is the mark of the beast. So we are not in the days of Noah yet. And there are some people that like to claim that because things are so terrible. But the fact that we can even discuss faith online ever and not get immediately socially cut off, period, right now, that's perfect proof right there. And don't think for a second that Noah during that 120 years didn't lose his ability to interact in society. There's no proof that he was anything other than abused. In fact, it just says that Peter goes out of his way and says all the heroes of the Old Testament were abused, disabused, treated as nothing, and regarded as unworthy of the world, when truth was they were exactly what God was looking for. Another thing, the end times is described as making mankind more rare than the gold of Ophir. There's going to be such turmoil and mass death that, like, the thing that's going on with the shots and the heart disease and all that stuff, yeah, it looks freaky, and like statistically it is an anomaly, but this ain't nothing yet. We're going to see, actual asteroids hit the Earth. We're going to see actual likely comets, the wormwood comet that's going to come make all the waters nasty. Like, all of this thing's going to happen before technically we reach that description of the days of Noah. So things are going to be so much more beyond where they are now, it will be hard to even begin to describe the difference, because it will seem as though we're on a completely foreign planet. Like, that's how bad it's going to get. Yeah, essentially Noah was the only, perhaps likely only genetically pure family left that were actually still human, originally designed from Adam and on down via the Lord's original plan. There's also a good chance that his family was the only one that housed any true significant faith. I mean, the entirety of the world was killed off, and even after that, Ham showed himself to be evil. So, no, the days of Noah are much, 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 much worse than what we are experiencing right now. Another thing that will define the days of Noah is the existence of the Niphilim. The Antichrist, although it doesn't directly say so, is literally called the son of the devil, or at least the pseudo-son of the devil. There's a chance that the Antichrist will likely be a Nephilim, like the folks that were around during Noah's time. But with the plan Satan has enacted in our time, I don't think things are designed to be quite so in your face. The goal will be to show where their fake God comes from as being the source of power. So to just step up and have this genetically advanced freak of a leader doesn't really make sense. He has to be able to identify with us. So he's not going to be so much different than all of us that we can't see him as one of us, because that's the goal. The other goal will be a whole and total supplanting of actual faith. We don't know what that looked like before Noah, but we do know by looking at his line from Adam all the way down that it was maintained specifically in that family. Noah was, 600-something years old when this all went down? No, the description of the time of Noah is much, much different than people realize. Here's another note about the time of Noah. Peter describes angels imprisoned for their misdeeds long ago. Well, there's only really two big options. It was either the pre-inundated earth that was judged before man was ever created. They were judged for basically stepping beyond their realm and taking over bodies and genetically engineering the dinosaurs and so on. Or when the men came down and went into the daughters, or I'm sorry, when the angels came down and went into the daughters of men, that one makes more sense because, genetically polluting the gene pool, if done correctly on Satan's part, would have made sure that the Messiah could not have come, because he was promised to be one of us, a man, a human, not a genetically engineered super freak with Satan's fingerprints on it. So I think that was the goal, not only to destroy faith by giving humans more power than they could ever handle, but also by diluting the gene pool to the point to where there was no lineage left to have a pure human heir, which is the ultimate purpose, I think, of Noah being the last family and everybody else being destroyed because they had some modicum of either utter evil behavior or some genetic impurity. And there's zero sign that any Nephilim actually asked for forgiveness. So you're going to be looking at a massively unrepentant world, basically middle finger to the Lord no matter what, regardless of what happens, regardless of how often they're shown to be incorrect. It won't matter. That's the days of Noah. They're going to be horrible. So if they see anybody out there saying, these are the days of Noah, they're probably thinking that there's going to be a pre-tribulational rapture. But don't think for a second while he was building that boat that his life wasn't in danger, that he wasn't being threatened constantly, that he wasn't constantly being abused. That just absolutely had to have been happening the entire time. Look how it is today. Unbelievers are the same way. They don't have as much power. They can't just haul off and kill us like they could back then potentially, but it's obvious that the Lord sent him to it and protected him through it. So again, more proof that we don't get taken from trial. We get protected through it. Christ is the ark. Starting to get it yet? There is no avoiding tribulation. There is avoiding hell. There is staying on the Lord's team and doing the Lord's will, learning the Word, growing in the Word, and sharing it with the rest of the body. The body is described as a whole so that it can help each other out. Hand doesn't work without the elbow, etc. Going off on a different topic. So, yeah, the days of Noah are much, much worse than they are now. We're getting there. We're getting real close, actually. But you're going to start seeing a lot more people scream and throwing their hands in the air. I also think that's part of Satan's goal during these times, to get people to freak out so that they won't actually pay attention. Look at all the nonsense going on politically. So, once again, days of Noah are absolutely awful. We do not want those days, but they are coming. We will be here. And also note that Noah was present during the days of Noah. Noah was a much greater believer than anybody that's alive today. Flat out. We can say that, I think, pretty strongly. So, more proof that we make it through the tribulation. The ark is the Lord, which carries us through the troubled waters. He doesn't take us away from it completely. More insanity. Anyhow, have a great day. Leave comments. Disagree with me. I'm going to throw, verses at you, and we're going to battle it out. But the Word debunks the Word. So, anyhow, have a great day, guys. Bless you.